Hey everybody, Danny's Willing, here with Tameka's Willing. Today we have something a little different, a little fun. We're going to take a look at one of the early fights in the UFC, and we're going to take a look at one of the very first submissions that ever happened in the UFC, and we're going to see if there's anything interesting in the setup, the takedown, the finish, whatever parts of that look interesting. We'll play some of them for you over here somewhere. Then we're just going to chat a little bit about what we saw in the video and what maybe we want to take a closer look at. Then after that, we'll head over to the mats and we'll see if we can figure out how to do the thing we just saw done. Should be a lot of fun. Today we're going to take a look at Ken Shamrock versus Patrick Smith from UFC 1. I believe it was 1993. Yep, it's 1993, 100%. It's the very first heel hook ever to happen in the UFC. It was done by Ken Shamrock. Let's take a look.
Spoiler.
Spoilers for a 17-year-old fight, I guess. Alright, so before we get started, I don't have any particular knowledge about MMA. I am a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu player, grappling only. My lovely wife Tameka here had a couple of amateur cage fights back in the day. 2-0. She's retired.
Yes.
You had fun though?
It was so much fun.
So much fun. Go ahead and look those up if you want. You don't need to though. It's not required viewing. But so Tameka's got a little bit of MMA experience, but for the most part we're just going to be looking at this from a purely grappling perspective. So there's very little striking whatsoever in this fight. Within 10 seconds of the opening bell, Ken charges in, changes his level, not a lot, just a little bit, shoots in, grabs not a double but higher for the body lock, grabs him and throws him down with a big old slam, kind of a modified body lock carry, but with a turn and a tilt. Whatever it was, ended up on the ground in Patrick Smith's closed guard.
Once they're on the ground, Patrick has a very tight closed guard around Ken with head control, arm control, which is great guard posture for self-defense. We use that a lot in some of the things that we show. It's great for controlling the posture of the person that's on top. This allows Patrick to actually open his guard, and he throws a few kind of heel kicks to Ken's kind of like back liver area.
Kidneys. It's probably directly in the kidneys.
But the fact that he has kind of that nice tight lock on the upper body allows him to throw those strikes. And Ken is basically trying to get away, frame on the face, try to get his posture back. It looks like he's trying to stand up, so he had a submission in mind probably from the start.
Probably from the very second they hit the ground, he was thinking about that heel hook.
Yeah.
So once he's in there, he frames off, he stands up, he gets to his tripod base. Throughout this whole thing, Patrick's been kind of pitter-pattering him with these kicks. Mm-hmm. Now that Ken is standing up, when he opens his guard to throw those kicks, Ken captures both legs. He sits back, wraps his legs around, almost like you would in 50-50, but he's got both legs, not just one. Mm-hmm. Throughout, after a little bit of scuffling and kind of that really old school looking leg entanglement, Ken manages to pummel out one of his legs, pummel over the top, which is interesting because I don't know if I've ever actually seen anybody do it that way.
Yeah.
Very cool. We'll take a look at that and see if we can do it. I usually go underneath for that, but in this case Ken went over the top. Now he's got one leg isolated, he falls back on that heel hook, that's all she wrote.
I think it's fair to say that Patrick probably didn't really realize the situation that he was in.
For sure.
He didn't really know how to address, having his leg isolated.
Yeah. I think you're 100% right. I think it's fairly clear Patrick's at least seen somebody do jiu-jitsu. He closed his guard, he got a hold of his head.
Yep.
I don't know what an average person's instinct is when taken down by an angry 220-pound Ken Shamrock, but yeah. Maybe that would be my plan too.
Yeah.
Gonna wrap his head up real tight and hold on. But unfortunately, when you're that tight, there's not really a lot of offense available. Mm-hmm. So he just sort of sat there trying to hold on to Ken. Ken eventually manages to frame, to make some space. What I thought was interesting was you could see he was trying to pull his head out, during that section where they're kind of seated on the ground, or they're both sitting in Patrick's guard. It's interesting how he was trying to make space without using a frame, and it just was not working, because Patrick is obviously a full-grown, strong heavyweight.
He's holding on.
He was holding on pretty tight.
Yeah.
You're not going to usually be able to just rip your head away.
Yeah.
Ken obviously immediately realized that and started putting that frame in. He used one of my favorite frames, that double barrel frame, forearm across the face and the other hand to support it and push away. And as soon as he did start to push away, he started to stand up and he started to look for that leg. I thought for a minute there he was going for Patrick's left leg, but as soon as he opened up, Ken jumped on that other leg. He went after that one. So I assume that's his preference, is to attack the right leg.
Oh.
We're gonna take a look at the takedown, how that happened. We're gonna look at the transition from closed guard to the leg entanglement, and then we're gonna look at how he isolated the finish. So we're gonna get our stuff on. We're gonna head over, and we're gonna
give it a try.
We're gonna give it a try. And Patrick wants to throw this kick. That was fairly clear when they clinched that he was about to throw this kick here, coming in. So the interesting part of it is Ken chose to use kind of half-level change when he came in. Now, I'm not an MMA guy, but I know you learned this particular technique to hit your double leg when you were cage fighting.
I mean, it's an artistic choice, perhaps,
Sure.
but because people do tend to throw, knees and kicks.
Sure.
If you go all the way down,
If I shoot,
you're very much knee level.
If I shoot my traditional shot, is what she's saying here, and I shoot down, bang, I'm gonna get nailed.
Yeah. If you're a little slow or you time it wrong,
or you're a
something.
220-pound man trying to cover 5 feet with a shot.
So it is a bit safer to not bring your head all the way down there and instead kind of shoot lower. Yeah. And maybe just do like a spear double or something like that. Yeah, exactly.
I have a friend who shoots their double leg with his head right in your abdomen.
Yeah.
It sucks.
Yeah, so I don't know. Perhaps that's what he was thinking. Perhaps not.
Maybe. We'll never know for sure.
But that's how it happened. So
Patrick is unfortunately passed, and Ken Shamrock won't return my calls. So Ken uses a half-level change, possibly to avoid the low kick. So he comes in. But instead of hitting a double leg and continuing to turn, so once he's shot in, Patrick starts moving his hips back a little bit, making the double leg a little less likely, especially without actually going in and changing my level and coming back up. So instead he switches to the body lock and comes up. So during the spin, and Ken is a very powerful man, so he was able to just sort of rip him off his base and turn him. I think what he would have liked to do is step and throw, kind of a traditional freestyle throw. But what happened instead was Patrick posted out wide on that leg when he went to throw. That forced him to kind of come down in the guard.
Alright, so when we came down from the throw, we ended up here. Me as Patrick, I've got my hands around Ken's head, and with his guard locked, he had really good control here. Like I said earlier, this is really good for like a self-defense aspect because I'm controlling his posture and it's very hard for him to punch me here. And Ken's choice at this point is to kind of just break away from me if he can, which he attempts to do.
So what I thought was really interesting was you could see him just try to sort of muscle his way away from him at first.
Yes.
Without using any sort of framing or technique. He just tried to rip his head away.
Yeah.
And Patrick's a big, strong boy, so that didn't happen.
Yeah.
We ended up here, and he's trying to pull his head out.
I'm just holding on. And
Yeah.
he did take an opportunity to throw a couple of these kind of heel hammer strikes as well. But eventually, Ken starts framing really well, trying to tripod up, get up on his feet. Yep, exactly.
Now I have the frame. Now I can move away.
Yep. Now, I feel my control being lost here, so that might be why he chose to open his guard again and strike. But that was a not very wise decision because what I've done is relinquish any control that I had over him.
You can see she doesn't have any grips with her hands.
Nothing.
There's nothing. If she was holding on to my wrist, this would be a lot harder.
Yep.
But since I've pulled away completely, Ken just very aggressively sits for this
Yep.
foot,
Yes.
but traps both legs.
Yeah.
Now this is interesting. So originally, Ken is after this straight ankle, it looked like to me. He's got his hand locked, he's got both legs trapped, and he's coming in. If I apply here, it's annoying, it hurts,
Yeah.
but it's going to be tough for me to actually break. Now, I'm not Ken Shamrock,
Might
which
be a
was
different story.
probably a little scarier to have him wrap his arm around
tap
your leg.
immediately.
I would probably just run away. But, so to me, the problem here is, now I have to get rid of this other leg, because I'm after this one.
Yeah.
And maybe the straight ankle lock isn't cutting it. I need something a little higher caliber. We're going to go with the heel hook, same as Ken.
Yeah.
Now, if I want to get this leg out of here, my first instinct is to go underneath,
Mm-hmm.
is to move my hip away
Bring that in.
and bring this knee through the bottom.
Yep.
That's not what Ken did.
Yeah.
Ken went over the top and used his leg to pummel, which is super interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Because if she does nothing with this leg, if she's got it hooked around my back over here, this is not possible.
Yeah.
I'm not going to be able to bend the knee to scrape it out of here.
Yeah.
So what happened that allowed Ken to take that leg out over the top like that was Patrick started kicking him
Mm-hmm.
with this leg,
Yep.
because this one's trapped. So he starts throwing these hammers to the chest, but as soon as she takes this leg out and starts kicking, this can now pummel.
Yep.
Now I can't do it if it's here. I can't. I have to go under.
Yep.
But if she pulls that leg back, now I can wipe it out of the way.
Yep.
Now I didn't catch where he was keeping his other foot in here. I would imagine he just sort of clamped it, or clamped it. If I had it my way, it'd be under the butt, and I'd be clamped here. Now for the dig out, that's interesting as well,
Mm-hmm.
right? So he does relinquish everything and come down to the heel, right?
Yep.
So this is a little tricky. If I let go with both hands, there's nothing stopping her from just planting that foot and shrimping her hips away. Now, Patrick didn't know that.
Right,
You know, and I'm not throwing stones
No,
at
no.
Patrick Smith. He wasn't a grappler. So instead, if I were going to do this, I'd do it in two parts. I grab here, then I'd switch my hand.
Yeah.
Now I grab.
Yeah.
For the finish, and this is painful, so be careful. When he goes back, he's going to hug tight, and he's going to roll his whole back. It's not here. That sucks. It's not fun. It makes your knee feel funny. But if I want to wreck it, I come down and I hug everything to my chest, and I slowly turn.
Yep.
Blow that knee out. Super painful, super dangerous, super interesting, right?
Yeah.
So we're here in this. I don't know the name of this position. I don't know if it has one. We're here. I want to pummel and get that leg out. I keep control of one leg, and I'm here. If she starts kicking at me, maybe I can clear and come over the top. But if we're here, maybe she's holding on to my leg. Maybe she's thinking about attacking my foot. I'm actually going to bring this knee under. Grab, adjust, and hit my heel.
Yeah. And I think one thing I've found kind of interesting watching this is you'll notice the moment that Patrick realizes how much danger he's in.
Yeah.
Because as soon as you reach back and you find that this is tight, I feel in danger. Okay? So that's when he's like, oh my gosh, I have to get this leg up. I'm like, and he starts doing this number, and then, yeah. It was a little bit too late. But
So that was just us looking at Ken Shamrock versus Patrick Smith, the first heel hook in UFC history. If you liked it, hit like, subscribe down below. So this has been a visit to 1993. So hope you guys had some fun. We'll see you soon. Thank you guys very much.